Okay, I'm gonna hang up here.
Right.
Okay. Wow, we've got some folks coming into the meeting. Very nice. This is the VO Mastery free live webinar on our Zoom. This is crazy. So is that what it's supposed to look like? Do you see Alan Anderson's name?
I see you.
My video's on, no? Let me
Yeah, I
hit
see you.
record. Why am I seeing it look like this? Does anybody know?
Who's that?
Hi, John.
Oh, that's you.
Oh, good. Hi. Hi, how are you? Mark, Beth, looking forward to talking to everyone.
Let's be clear. This is me. So we see you.
Good.
Yeah.
But why don't I see that? I want to see what everybody's seeing.
What do I see? What am I doing?
You know what I mean? Oh, I see. We've got a lot more people in here than I can actually see. This is so cool. Let me get the chat open. Hi, Billy, and everybody that's joining the chat. Hi, you guys. Oh, hi, Eleanor. How are you? So good to have everyone. So we are going to ask you to, okay, it's saying I'm muted. Got it.
Click yourself up there, please.
I know, but here's the thing. It's saying I'm unmuted. Everybody can hear me now?
Yes, we can.
Yay. Why is this so difficult for me? John Taylor, I see you laughing at me.
I'm not laughing, I'm smirking.
Well, a smirk is good. So you're not going to believe who's in the room with us. We've got, first of all, my two helpers that I could not do this work without, Carson Beck and Jack Daniel.
Hi. Jack was just in the frame.
There's Carson.
What's up? Oh.
Hey.
Howdy.
And we've got David Kaye in the room.
God, this is
Let me
Oh,
see.
there I am.
So I am not muted, correct? Everybody's hearing me. We're all good. Excellent. Thank you for bearing with me. This is our third or fourth, I think it's our fourth free Zoom VO Mastery webinar. And we've been, I think last week was so much fun with Debbie Derryberry and her singing and playing guitar. We decided we'd have to do it again. So we invited David Kaye.
I'm not singing or playing a guitar, so don't expect that.
You know, you don't have to actually. So, oh, you're in the Zoom. Where are you? Why don't I see David?
I'm right here. I'm right across from you. I'm looking right at
You are. This is true.
Definitely in there.
Okay, and John will perform for us if we ever open the mic. There you go.
Well,
No,
I could do that.
That's a really cool
I can do
chair,
that. I
John.
can play harmonica.
indeed.
I like it a lot. Do you see that chair he's working from? Does everyone see what I'm seeing? John Taylor's chair?
It's a gamer chair.
Are you a gamer?
No, but I'm pretty much a person that likes to be in a chair.
As often as possible, sipping
Yes.
a fine beverage.
Indeed.
But someone that is in the games, in the game industry, I found it very interesting, David Kaye, when I went into your website, and I'm not that
It's
person
being
that
updated, by the way. It's literally in the middle of the whole big thing, so I don't know if it's working.
you're doing a whole big thing.
Yeah, is it
Well,
working
this,
still?
but your opening on your homepage is a
that's gotta
really big thing. And
That's got to be changed.
I just think that when you're trying to read someone's credits, ABC, NBC, CBS, Fox, FX, Star, I mean, and then it goes on, Discovery, currently the voice of Sony Entertainment's new classic movie channel. Oh, I like that. Is that still?
Get TV. Oh yeah, Get TV.
Get TV.
We can't get it. We can't get it here. It's interesting.
Well,
Yeah.
then we don't got TV.
Yeah.
His voice has been featured in hundreds of episodes of animation series, Transformers, Lugnut, Dinobot?
Dinobot. Yeah.
Dinobot, yeah. Sorry. That one got past me.
What are the
Yeah.
Transformers?
But
Where the hell?
one of your fun things that you're doing right now is Last Week Tonight with John Oliver.
Yeah, it's just not fun at all.
Why? Why? Isn't that comedy?
Oh no, that's great. Yeah, there was last week. Last week's show, I think there was a particular and now. Sometimes they do long form comedy and long form bits and things, but there's the and now they do some bunch of those. And there's a bunch of other. I don't think I could say it on the air, but if you heard it, you might know what it was. But I couldn't stop laughing. It took 10 minutes just to say one line,
Oh
at
my
least.
God.
And they were laughing. I was laughing. We couldn't stop. It was,
Do you get the giggles like that?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Especially doing with those guys.
Oh my
Yeah.
God.
There's
That I
been,
would
they did
just,
a big thing on was it Spotlight?
Right.
Spotlight.
hmm
And
Did we
called-
just lose our
Am I there?
audio?
called Stoplight.
Hello, we're okay. Are you guys hearing me? Yes. So I don't know what's happening. Maybe something isn't happening. Okay, so this is the problem. There's noise from the TV that I was hoping we could kill in the other room. Thank you. Okay, great. So you came to last year's VO Mastery, David, and you were just briefly on the animation panel.
Yeah.
But what a day that was. That was so much fun.
It was, yeah.
But it was like in the blink of an eye.
It's the only way I think I'm actually going to get to work with Jess Harnell is on a panel. It's just, we've been cartoons together, but never actually worked with Jess, and it's kind of ridiculous. But that was actually, yeah, I think that's really going to be the only time I'll get a chance to work with Jess is on a panel. That's what it looks like. Anyway.
Why? Because you guys tend to play the same characters?
No, not at all. No. It's just the way it rolls. You're in certain shows, and I don't even know if I think he was in a guest role or something in Transform. I can't remember, but I've always wanted to be on a show with him.
Mm-hmm.
You do the
But,
version with Michael Bay, the live action version. I think he was a voice in that.
With who?
Michael Bay?
The Michael
Oh no,
Bay
I wasn't in
show.
the live action. No.
But that Jess Harnell did one of the voices.
Yeah,
in
he
that.
did. He did do in that. But again,
Rebecca?
yeah, there's a few people I've always wanted to work with.
Mm-hmm.
I was lucky enough to finally work with Andrea Romano, who just retired
Yeah.
not so long ago. And would have liked to have worked with her a lot longer. I've known her for years. It's just sometimes you just paths don't cross, and you could be in this
Right.
business forever, and then you finally, yeah, fortunate, really
But
fortunate.
it was interesting because I thought of you because I put you on the animation panel with everyone. I think of you as animation because of these incredible characters that you do that are pretty iconic at this point.
Sort of all over the map, really. Every day.
But you are all over the map. But
Yeah.
so that's why I thought, oh, he's this character and he does animation. But really, promo and trailers and narration are a huge part of your daily work, correct?
Yeah. And trailers even more so now. It's funny. All these different areas, there's an ebb and flow to all of them. Once there's a bit of traction on one end, you think, oh, we're going to, it's trailers now. And now that kind of drops off and then animation picks up. And it's like, I'm working on like 5 shows at the moment right now that is sort of, there's like 3 or 4 that I can't even talk about until next year.
Wow.
But I'm sort of in it's a riot. It's hilarious because they say, I want some more cartoons. Like Rob Paulson says,
Right.
you just want to work with your peers and have a good time.
Mm-hmm.
It's not even about the paycheck, nothing at all. It's like, oh, I get to go and play today.
Of
And that's
course.
really what it's fun. And if you're at home, you're like, I didn't get invited to the birthday party. Like Rob says.
Yeah, I can
They
see
don't
where
invite me
people
to the
can get
birthday party.
insecure.
So it's just you get addicted to the work, addicted to being in the studio with your peers and friends, and it's a lot of fun.
But mind you, animation is really the only time where you guys get to interface and work together. Otherwise, all the other areas of voiceover, whether it's promo or narration, or even in my case, live announce, I'm
Yeah,
in
you're
a
in the
room
booth,
by
yeah.
myself.
Mhm.
And so there is not that connection and the camaraderie that you do get
Yeah.
when you walk into some incredible session where
And
everyone is
And it's
just,
sort of it's sometimes it's free for all. Sometimes it's just people riffing, and it's a wonder they actually get for one 11-minute cartoon. Sometimes it takes you 4 hours because people are just screwing around.
right.
But it's when there's that energy in the booth, like in Ben 10 right now, with Tara, me, Tara Strong, and me. Who else? Roger Craig Smith is just he makes me laugh just looking at him. He'll just look at me and I'll start laughing. And Montse Hernandez is the new Gwen, and the various different aliens that come in, and it's just a very lively, fun. The Marvel Avengers Assemble stuff, that crew, we're nuts.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a wonder we actually get a show done.
Yeah.
Um,
How do you even make your day work? I mean, because then you've got to get in the car and
That's-
go to
yeah.
a studio and you're like packed full just in your own home studio.
Yeah, so today is one of those weird. Yesterday was there's nothing in the calendar from anyone, and all of a sudden you wake up, say, "Oh, I just gotta look at," and the phone rings, and all of a sudden you go, "Oh, can you do this?" The day's full up.
Right.
So with an empty calendar, all of a sudden you just never know. And today was full, And then they kept switching things around. So today would have been a bad day to do animation.
Mhm.
Because when you get promos and trailer scratches and,
Right.
and bookings, they're kind of slotted in. So if I'm over here for a 4-hour call
Right.
from 2 to 6 at Avengers, I have to make sure I get as much cleared off before I bolt over there.
Mhm.
And then and sometimes we're done about 5. But I always have my road gear in the car with me. So if I get caught and there's something that needs to be done
Sure.
now, I just whip out to the car and do
It's
it there
true.
and send it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
And the issues that you have and issues that any of us that live in LA might have, a lot of people that are actually on the Zoom tonight and all over the country, they don't know from that. They're sitting in a booth and they don't really get to go out very much.
Yeah.
You have to really enjoy the isolation, I think, to do this work. But I want to talk to you about, you came from Canada here. How long ago? How many years?
Well, I was commuting for almost 10 years from Vancouver.
Yeah.
And then we've been here 10 years, living 10 years.
Living 10 years.
Yeah. So yeah.
Would you say that's when you put your stake in the ground and said, okay, I'm here, I'm serious, I'm going to make this work, and this is my vision and dream?
Well, it was like one of those things. I was never, every 4 to 7 years, I get antsy. What are we doing? What do we reinvent myself? Am I going in the right direction? Canada's a great place to be. Vancouver, a great talent there, and a lot of the cartoons, Deke Animation came up there.
Mm-hmm.
And so I kind of cut my teeth in 89, 90 with G.I. Joe. And after that was pretty much, okay, so now how do I get down here? Gordon Hunt was directing us in
Right.
Exo Squad, Helen Hunt's dad at the time. And
Yeah.
I just wanted to be part of this. But it goes way further back from radio, because I grew up, having radio heroes. I grew up with listening to WBZ in Boston on Skip at night. I could hear them. I could hear Chicago radio from where I lived. It was a bigger deal to me, and I wanted to be part of that. And Rick Dees, when he was younger and started, I used to listen and read everything he wrote and books and how he started from North Carolina. And funny enough,
Disco Duck.
Rick's a neighbor, and Rick's over here, and we become friends. And it's sort of a weird thing, but it started with radio.
Right.
And I just fell in love with, I just wanted to be part of that. And then with 89, there was a launch pad to get from there to here, doing cartoons and stuff. So, yeah.
Got it. Sorry, I'm seeming distracted. I'm trying to hand them this here. Oh, you plugged it in?
Oh, lights.
Very nice. We're trying to add a little light. The sun is starting to get a little dimmer. But- So just so you know, guys, I'm not really hearing anything in my headphones. I don't know what happened. So I'm going to take them off for the moment because they're not even, and I don't need to hear myself so much. It's when we start talking to folks in the Zoom that I would need to hear. But there's something about you, David, and I remember us sitting at Sweet Salt. Was it like 5 years ago?
Yeah, I guess so.
5 years ago.
We
4 years ago.
Tara
Whenever
Strong's too. That's when we first
at
met.
Tara's, we went
Yeah.
there for a Passover dinner. No,
And I was excited because I found out that you were the voice of entertainment. And I had this time to go, oh my.
right.
And I was a huge fan of yours. And I just love this town for that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And you were so effusive. You were like, "Hey, I want to get together. Let's talk. Let's have some coffee." And so we finally did. And it was in that moment. First of all, if you guys could see how buff Dave is,
Please
it's
don't.
crazy.
It's a
He
sickness.
works out. It probably is. So because everyone has something, right? Like everyone needs to figure out what it is they need to do to stay sane, to remain
It's my
centered.
zen. I used to ski, and I can get back to that. I would do that and not think about anything else. And I'm in the gym. I don't think about anything else except what I'm doing at the moment.
Right.
I don't think about other things. And it's just I'm just addicted. It's just an addiction.
So what time do you hit the gym in order to do that?
Well, I remember with a trainer for years. Sometimes it's 11 o'clock or noon or 2 or 3. And
Oh, okay.
and
So you hit the
if I'm not
booth.
with her, I'm downtown on the weekends, or we're playing a goofy game called squash. I've been playing it all my life. It's just part of my routine.
Wow.
If I'm not moving and I'm not sweating, I go nuts. It's just my thing. Keeps me, grounded.
Right,
That's all.
right.
Yeah.
My husband he was a Florida State champion squash
You
player.
squash player? Are
Mhm.
you kidding me? You play doubles?
I moved on to tennis.
Yeah.
Oh,
You know, I
love
think
these doubles, Chris.
there you
That's
go.
kinda
We
cool.
actually met playing racquetball.
Oh yeah. 'Cause
That was how we met. We
When
were.
you say squash, no one knows what the hell you're talking about.
I know.
Yeah.
It's an Ivy League sport that
I played at the YMCA. I never knew about the whole
Yeah.
Ivy League thing.
In Pakistan, it's a big sport.
Yeah.
India.
Yeah. Well, it's
and
globally. It's a global.
Who knew that?
It's a global. I can take my racket anywhere in the world, and I can get a game
you just
anywhere.
don't want to get hit with that little black
Well, that's what in doubles is worse. Doubles is the hard ball. That hurts. You got to call your lets and doubles.
Do you
Man.
wear glasses?
Oh yeah, certainly, of course.
So here we go. I'm now just looking at
Should
some
I
of the
put my
chat
headphones on?
notes. Well, if we talk to someone in the chat.
Yes.
Oh, now where Jody said her dad used to play squash, a classic game of VO squash. Yes, with a dead ball. It's just boom. There's no bounce to it. I've
That's why
been
it's
there.
called squash.
So we've got a lot of great people on the chat with us tonight. I know that you're too busy just doing your work. You're a family guy. Just celebrated your 30th anniversary with your beautiful wife, Maria.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, yesterday. Hard to believe. Thank you.
Right?
Yeah.
That's great.
How in the world she said yes at the start? Honestly, and she's Sicilian, and one of the cousins said,
David, it's 4 beautiful girls. Maria's the first one to get married, So I just want to say, congratulations. And if there's any, can I swear on this show, by the way?
Sure.
Because he said, the only reason she would ever leave you is if you ever fucked up. And he leaned into me and said, don't ever fuck up.
I love it.
Hey, another drink. Hey, my buddy, David.
Yeah, those Sicilian guys. Nick the trunk. You'll wind up in.
Nick the trunk.
Yeah, Nick
that's
the
so
trunk.
great. She's just the greatest.
Yeah, you guys have a lot of fun. One of the cool things that I found out about David after being invited to one of his amazing holiday parties
We're doing it again this year. You ready?
is, first of all, you belong to a wine club. Right?
Oh, a few of them.
A few of them. And he talks to everyone. Like you sit down with the ambassador from Austria. You can sit down with people from all
true.
different
Wine
countries.
Well, squash is kind of a similar thing because there's a sisterhood and a brotherhood with squash. You take
Right.
a racket, all of a sudden you got best friends all over the world.
I feel like
Same
that's
idea.
tennis.
With tennis is another one.
It's a handshake
And
to the world.
wine thing is one of those things where if you meet somebody from Austria, you start talking about, and you're all of a sudden you're best friends, and it's what do you do? I'm ambassador of Austria. Oh, well,
Very nice. I make funny voices. For a living.
Honestly, I'm an anomaly. I think at some of these places.
in one of those groups, I would
Yeah.
think so. But
Yeah.
that's what makes you so cool to me.
Yeah, I don't know. I look. Voiceover is. It used to be the be all and end all, and that was all I lived, slept, and breathed. I was it. I wanted to be on the air at a big station. I wanted to be doing trailers. I wanted to, and it's 30 years of that, and it's every day. It's. I have a sign in my studio. You may have seen it. It says, my religion is hustle. And I've been hustling for 30 years.
Yeah.
And there's a point you go, man, what? The career's been amazing career, amazing people I've met. Things are, it's still that graph. It's still kind of, who's David Kaye? I'm still who's David Kaye? Get me David Kaye. I'm not quite at the get me someone who sounds like David Kaye, but it's sort of at least it's still.
I'm in
tracking.
the get a young Randy Thomas. So hello.
No one will ever come close, but it's still that. So my life now is about my wife and my kids, getting Spencer's the next one, get him off to college, get him going. I have sort of all these other activities and things, and voiceover is how do you explain it? What is it? It's sort of it's part of that pie chart.
Yeah.
But it's no longer so I'm no longer grasping so tight that it's filling the whole pie chart.
Right.
It has taken a very long time to get to the point where I can relax. It's tough even today.
Do you think that's just life in general?
Life in general. If you can just
sit-
stop gripping so tight.
Yeah.
And it's a good example for people who are getting into it. One of those things, just stop gripping so tight. Let it do what you do. And my manager says, just do what you do. Everything's fine. Just keep doing it. Just keep doing it. Don't wrap up. And you have a great team. I have an amazing team of people behind me, and I love them all. And so everyone's doing their job, and I'm enjoying and having a lot of fun what I do. So I'm, to me right now, my focus is on is traveling a lot, and with the gear and a good hotel.
So you
room and a
you
closet.
traveled the world, I
Yeah,
saw.
we're in Madrid, Spain, and the thing comes up. I'm on the boat. Here's an example. We took a trip last year. I go, oh, okay, well, let's take the trip. We should be fine. I'll bring my gear.
Right.
So I get a call. Of course, we're on a boat on the Rhone River. We're on the cruise, and I get a mad texting coming through. My agent saying, listen, on Taco Bell campaign, they really want you. Is there any way? I'm like, well, I'm on a campaign. So I said, well, hang on. So I went and set up everything in the room. We had a great little room. And then we did the session. We did a talk. I had them it was a FaceTime audio direction. Wow. And I recorded and sent the thing out hightail. I went back down. I had a glass of wine around 10 o'clock at night. And it was done.
The tools of the trade are easy. You said that you came out of radio. I came out of radio. Anyone that's come out of radio, we know we were a one-person shop. You have to be in charge of every aspect of your career and your ability to get up and go and have all the little tech things that you need to travel. But I think it's just the development of the career that you have that I find quite admirable, because not only are you smart, you're super kind, super nice, but highly focused, highly focused. And I've watched your career grow to,
there is a focus, and it's saying that back to the gym. I'm very focused in it. When I'm in the gym trying, I don't see anyone.
You don't go there to chit chat?
No. And I honestly, I don't. I'm like, let's get it done. And because we're here to do a job. And it's the same attack I bring to my sessions and to my auditions. If I'm in a session, and you know this to be true, I want to make the clients and the vendors' job as easy as possible. I don't want them going, I want to make their job the best part of their day.
Right.
I want to do my thing, get in, get out, and not be horsing around and stuff. And so that's my thing. That's how I run my business.
Right.
We're in a cartoon session. It's a bit different. You got to have the free flowing jazz thing going on. That makes the energy up, and that makes everybody's having fun. We're on the same page. But in the booth, it's like, let's get this out. I don't like to have an email full of stuff. It gets done and out and quickly. I don't want to have it hanging around, because I do a lot of affiliates as well. And it doesn't matter if it's a small market in Frozen Groin, Saskatchewan, or New York City. It's their most important. They're important, and it's you take the time and get it done and get it out, get it so they can have it on the air right away. So,
well, you have the luxury of being a union talent, and we take great pride in being a part of SAG-AFTRA. I don't know if you saw the news today. This whole thing blew up. Actually. No, it's VO News. It's VO News. Are you familiar with a thing called Voice Bank?
Yes.
Okay,
yes,
so that's where our demos are housed. That's how our agents find auditions.
Right, yeah.
Well, they were acquired today, I believe, by voices.com, which is a pay-to-play company. And that's caused a lot of outrage within the community.
I did not know that.
Because if you think about it, voices.com, they bring a lot of non-union. I would say 90% of their talent is non-union. And these are all the voiceover people that are doing their own marketing to create a career. Voice Bank has served the professional high end of the industry for all these years. And to see something that's kind of, well, I don't want to say sketchy. People call it sketchy because voices.com has been known to take 40 to 60% of the pie, giving VO people less because they say, well, we're managing the job. We have to take more money out of what the buyer wants to pay.
God.
And so the last person that sees the money is the talent. It's a terrible
it's the first time I'm hearing about this.
And so they just bought Voice Bank. So I don't know what the agents and managers, I don't know how everyone is going to react. What I would love.
I know what Jeff's going to do.
He's going to say, exactly. Well, I'm sure he's talking about that. So what I want to do now is, I spoke with J. Michael Collins today. We had a conversation because everyone online is talking about this acquisition and what's it going to do. The first people that could get hurt are all the talent managers that manage non-union talent. They could be the first to not be viable anymore. After that, probably the non-union talent will, I think they're just trying to get, I don't know what part of the marketplace they're trying to box in right now, but I had a conversation with J. Michael Collins. Can we figure out how to bring this up? I'd like to share the conversation. And Jeffrey Umberger called during my call with my Zoom with Jay Michael today. So when Jeffrey Umberger called, we decided to put it all in the video and send it to you guys.
Tell me what.
So let me show it to you. We'll listen here, David, and I'd love to hear your comments when we are done. That's the man I wanted to get on screen today to have a conversation. It seems that a lot of VO people are reeling, and I want to talk to you about what you think the implications. Do you want me off of this?
I'm gonna mute this. Hold on.
We don't hear your audio, Randy.
At some point, and then eventually it became the sort of channeling area for all of the auditions to go. Agents go in, look at them, send them out. For the model was never set up as a like pay to play or anything. This was a legit operation that catered to the union voiceover area, and they served up talent. Every agency that's out there gets to house their demos up on VoiceBank. And then things changed, and I don't even know how it changed for non-union people and everyone else in the industry. But at the time, our agents would get our demos up there. It didn't cost anything. But then if you wanted that star that would take buyers to your website, you would pay extra for that. I don't know how else they were making money. I don't even know what that business model is. It doesn't seem like it was a good one for them to move into this area saying this is where we're going to cash in. What is your take on everything that happened today, Jay?
Well, that's a broad question, and it's a very interesting question because it's been a fascinating day in the voiceover industry. And, you know, I think that a lot of us saw this coming. And, you know, I've been talking about the expansion of online casting for the past 7, 8, 10 years, and how it is, no matter what we do, going to play a very, very large part in the future of our industry. And, you know, we're responsible as talent and agents and casting directors for trying to shape what that future looks like and who the players are and how they behave to some degree. So I think we all realize that when Morgan Stanley made an $18 million investment in voices.com, they were transparent about what they were going to do. They said we wanted to get into acquiring other people in the industry, other companies in the industry, in order to expand and to branch into different parts of the business. And I think this is the first step, and not the last step, but the first step in that process. It's an interesting, you know, from a business perspective, I know a lot of talent are outraged from this. So I want to take a kind of a 360-degree objective view a little bit. And, you know, from a purely business perspective, it is a move to me that is, and I expected them to be making some moves, but it's a move that is equally surprising. It's bold, it's aggressive. And in my opinion, it's really designed to ultimately start to push agents out even more than they already have been pushed out, certainly of the non-union side of the business. I liken it to a pretty aggressive move against non-union agents and a little bit of a shot across the bow on SAG-AFTRA and on union agents as well who are affiliated with VoiceBank. It's very interesting. It's not what I thought they probably would have done first. I would have expected them to go after other online casting sites and consolidate that side of the business. So this is a very bold move, and it says we're confident. It says, you know, we've got a little swagger and we're here to stay. And it's interesting in that sense because I think there's been some questions over the past few months about, you know, the stability of voices.com and how strong that they are, and, you know, whether or not the Morgan Stanley investment part of it may have been to help resuscitate them a little bit after they had expanded so rapidly. And I think that's still very possible, but clearly this money is going to be used to aggressively acquire and target different elements of the industry, and VoiceBank is the start. So, you know, I expect that in the short term, not much is going to change. I think that VoiceBank will probably continue to run the way that it has. It's probably going to try to expand its operation a little bit and bring in more buyers to that site. It's the long term that's more troubling, because what you would expect to happen in the long term, if voices.com follows the same pattern that they have in their core business, is to start to see an aggressive monetization of every element of the voice bank process, where the buyers, the buyers may not directly be paying more, but if we start seeing managed jobs come out of voice bank and 40 to 50%, now voices.com has now publicly stated that they are taking 40 to 50% on managed jobs. So if you're getting 40 to 50% commissions now, all of a sudden a lot less money is going to the talent. Over time, agents may have to pay a big fee. Not a lot of people know this. Voices.com has an agency membership level. A lot of people aren't aware of that because it's not something they advertise aggressively publicly to talent. I'm not sure what that costs today. I know about 2 years ago that the price point for an agency membership was $10,000 a year.
And how would they benefit by spending that kind of money? Does it qualify the auditions?
Yeah, it would allow an agent to send auditions to anybody on their roster. At least that's the way it worked when I looked at that a couple of years ago. So I would imagine that agents are probably going to be asked to pay some kind of a bill to continue to have access to the work that's coming through the site. Whether that's immediate or down the road is an open question. But Voices.com's model, ultimately, and online casting, I mean, I for a long time, it's not so much that I'm an evangelist and advocate for the idea of online casting, because I love my agents, I love the casting directors I work with, I love the brick and mortar side of this business. But we can't avoid the fact that this is the nature of technology now. All freelance industries are moving in this direction. And we are freelancers at the end of the day. We may be talent, we may be creatives, but we're freelancers. And we're not immune to this.
True, but from what I'm seeing, it's like a super colliding truly in our faces, non-union and union. Voice Bank, we always felt, was there to serve the good of these union actors who have franchise representative agencies behind them, and that there was just a certain level or quality that we expected, and that we were able to create that space where. And it kind of hurt us. Like before, agents had to work harder to get those auditions. I'm not franchise agents. Today, in the morning, they look at Voice Bank, and they pick out which ones they want to send to their clients. But for now to super collide us together, what does that mean?
Well, I think
who will benefit in the short run? Do you think union talent benefit in the short run because
I don't think much changes in the short run, and I don't think anybody benefits in the short run. I think the people likely to get hurt in the short run are agents. Although I don't think it'll happen immediately. I might be surprised. But I mean, where I was going with that point was that online casting, by definition, is meant to cut out the middleman. It's meant to cut out agents, casting directors, and anybody else who's in the process between the company and the buyer. The controversy with online casting, that's part of the controversy. The second part of the controversy is the fact that you have certain sites, voices.com is the leader of those sites, who are very aggressive about how they monetize every element, and they're collecting from memberships, they're collecting from commissions, they're collecting from these managed jobs where they're taking very large commissions, and they're monetizing other elements too that we're not even talking about, like having a job listed as a priority job, paying a small fee for that, different membership levels, whatever it may be. So it's an aggressive monetization, and it's cutting out the agents. And I think if I were an agent on Voice Bank today, I'd be mildly terrified, because the model here, regardless of whether it's a slow rolling ball, that at the beginning it doesn't look like such a challenging situation. At the end of the day, it benefits a site like voices.com if agents go away and the work goes directly through the site. Okay, so in the long term, I think ultimately agents are going to be slowly nickeled and dimed on the new Voice Bank, and I think they're probably going to be slowly starved of work until they actually decide to leave.
Will be the agencies
non-union agents,
that have found their talent through folks getting some kind of success on these P2Ps and then saying, well, I need an agent now, so they get the first agent they can. And I do agree with you that they're the first in jeopardy. But here's where the affront comes from. Voice Bank has always supported the union industry, SAG-AFTRA. How do they justify teaming with a player that is known for taking 40% and being really piggish about their fees when our agents can only take 10%? And that's been the model.
And I'm sure you and your audience would love if I gave you a very incendiary response to that, but I'm simply going to say that money is a very strong motivator for many people. And, you know, business is what it is, so that's the decision that was made. Now we have to figure out what that means for the industry going forward. And to me, I see three real possible outcomes from this situation. I think perhaps the least likely outcome, but something I think a lot of talent and a lot of people in the industry would probably hope to see, would be that agents and buyers decide that the new voice bank is not for them, and that they leave in substantial numbers and, you know, perhaps build a new entity or perhaps go their own way, but take that business away from voice bank. Whether it's just the agents, the buyers would have to follow through. It has to be a, you know, a kind of a concerted effort there, and it has to be a substantial portion. If it's 5, 10, 15%, it doesn't work. If it's a lot of them and they leave, then voices.com has just bought dead weight, and that's not going to be a good outcome for them. Probability of that happening is hard. You know, you're the person who actually used the phrase once that I now use quite a lot. I should give you fair attribution on this.
I
You
didn't
use
make it
voice talent. So sometimes voice talent's a little bit like herding cats.
Okay.
We are, we're hard to herd sometimes. Agents, casting directors, and buyers, any of us in this business, you know, we start out by focusing on our own business, and in order to kind of move together in one direction, we have to see other people moving in that direction. So there's already been one prominent agent come out today and say that they're leaving the site. So that's.
Was it a public statement?
It was, yeah, Jeffrey Umberger, the Umberger Agency, announced that they're leaving voice bank. So that was an interesting development, and we'll see if other people follow. If that happens, then voices just, again, they kind of bought dead weight. If the buyers follow, it's not just the agents, the buyers have to follow too. So if that happens, then we're kind of back where we were before, and voices just wasted a little bit of money, and it's, you know, probably a lot of talent to be very happy about that. I think probably the more likely scenario is that some agents stay, some buyers stay, some agents leave, some buyers leave. The next domino that's really interesting here, though, is Voice 1, 2, 3. And the reason Voice 1, 2, 3 is really interesting is that in order to control, and what voices.com is trying to do here is they're trying to control the middle to upper middle end of the non-union marketplace. I know they'd like to get into the union marketplace, but I think that's still a long way from happening. But they're trying to control this. I mean, when we talk about the middle end of the non-union marketplace, we're talking about jobs between $150 to $1,000 per job, some a little bit higher. You know, we're not talking about fiber stuff. Okay, we're talking about some of it's not great quality, but some of it is decent quality. Some of it pays scale or better. And this is, and that's 80% of all the work that's out there. The union controls the top 5% of the work, and that's the very best work that there is, okay? But at the end of the day, out of all of the work, it's a relatively small piece of the pie. It's a big piece of the pay, but it's a small piece of the pie. 80% of the work is non-union mid-market, and Voices is trying to control that. They cannot control that if another entity exists that has similar, or in many cases, higher quality jobs, that has a similar price structure, that has a similar quantity of jobs to voices.com, which Voice 1, 2, 3 does, okay? And that doesn't monetize every little element of every transaction, and that actually still has a good deal of goodwill from the community. So as long as Voice 1, 2, 3 stands firm and is a bulwark, Voices can't necessarily achieve what they're trying to achieve by going for voice bank to begin with. However, if Voice, I wouldn't be surprised at all right now if there were talks going on. If Voice 1, 2, 3 sells to voices.com, then you're going to wind up with a 3-tiered marketplace. So if they don't sell and you've got this some coming, some going from voice bank, then it's kind of the status quo and we're back where we started in many ways. But if they do sell, then what you have is a 3-tiered marketplace where you've got fiber on the very, very low end. You've got voices.com controlling the vast middle. and you've got SAG-AFTRA up here, and just a little bit of whatever talent can go out and market on their own and build on their own. But you have to remember, when those talents are going out and marketing and building that work on their own, this giant voices.com creature is going to be out there with their cold calling army doing the same marketing that we're doing, chasing down the same leads that we're chasing. So you know, 20% it's a catastrophe for voices.com, 50% it's probably going to be the status quo, 30% chance voices.com succeeds in what they're trying to do, and then we all have to decide what part of the market we want to play.
Hi, Jeffrey. How are you? We were just talking, Jeffrey, about the franchise agents and how are they going to move on this? Because the non-trust that exists around voices.com and their business model is now totally affecting union actors, SAG-AFTRA. What do you think will come of this? You're the first one, you're brave, and you said, I'm out, I'm not interested. That's amazing. Like, you didn't need anyone else to agree with you. Okay, well, if you're out, then where? You just took a stance.
Well, I couldn't take it. I was, you know, telling people I couldn't stomach going to bed tonight, knowing my next payment's going to go into the pockets of voice.com or my, you know, my company's membership fee. It just, I told Colleen at Voice Bank that it just is truly going against, you know, it's a breach of trust or whatever it is. I can't be doing it. So there's no end in the day as it is. So, I don't know, you know, I think that what people are not as scared of is the major agencies not having as much of an issue with there being fallout from it, I guess, because of the union.
So, but I would like to hear the two of you have a quick conversation. What would you like to ask Jeffrey J. Michael?
Well, you know, you talked a little bit about your motivation for the decision that you made. You know, have you talked to any other agents about how they feel about the situation?
Yes, I've just got off the phone about three talks, and everyone is leaving, or intends to, and
Yeah,
so people
yeah,
put
sure.
in the word and haven't heard back yet, to email about it.
I don't know these guys.
I emailed this morning and got a call back. So from voice bank. And the consensus seems the same. It seems pretty unified that it is. It's sort of people take over.
Yeah.
That's why he wasn't live.
No,
It'd
it's
be
not.
3
It's
a.m.
not good for the actors at the end of the day. So that's what's so disconcerting to everyone. Do you think that, I don't know.
Well, you know, one of the things I think is interesting here is I do hope that, because obviously voices.com is not going away. You know, they have a big war chest, they have Morgan Stanley backing them, they're a big, you know, within our industry, a big company. None of these companies are massive companies at the end of the day, but it's a big company within the voiceover business. And one hope that I have is that Morgan Stanley, which is a company that has traditionally been reputationally aware and has been concerned about how they appear to the broader public, that they would perhaps do some reach out to the community here and maybe work on changing some of the policies of voices.com that people have been so negative about. And, you know, that could go a long way. But in the absence of that, decisions like the one you're making, I expect we're going to see more.
Yeah, I agree,
Well,
right?
someone made the point that they do want all the agencies to go away, and so this was an attempt, or this was what they were going to do, and the fallout was what they wanted. They want exodus.
Jeffrey, the purpose that voicebank.net has for voice actors and agencies is that that's where all of our demos are stored, and that's you guys get your auditions. What would be needed to be put in place in order for agents to say, all right, I'm out? I mean, what do you need? Where would you have to go? Or would you no longer be involved in any, you know, digital?
What about the buyers, Jeffrey? I mean, do you think the buyers will follow the agents out the door, or you know, are they going to be enthused about the idea of having this influx of other talent and this new management?
almost like as if it were to a brick and mortar building with my suitcase full of voiceover talent. And that's what I intend to do to get past this hurdle.
The other point I'll leave you with is this. I think we need to watch two things right now. Number one is, what do the agents do? Jeffrey, you're leading the pack. What do the buyers do at VoiceMank? And then secondly, Voice 123, watch it closely, folks. Do they sell to voices.com or not? If so, the market is going to shift permanently in 4 months.
Interesting. Do you think that's a possibility?
I think it's a distinct possibility. If I were voices.com or Morgan Stanley or whoever's making that decision up there, I would that would be my next stop. Because you can't have another viable site that has some community goodwill, that offers quality jobs, probably a little higher quality than what's on Voices, and the same quantity without the same business practice and the same aggressive monetization. You can't leave it sitting there, otherwise you don't dominate that sphere of the industry, and Voice 123 can continue to grow. So I think they're going to have a decision to make, and then we're going to see if there's a price there to be reckoned with.
Wow, Barry, I hadn't thought of that. Yeah, that's a great point.
Well,
Scary point.
it is a scary point. It's just blowing up today. So we'll see. We're going to keep our eyes and ears open to see what happens next and see how many agents stand up
when
and
we're ready to
say,
end it.
This isn't going to work for us. Our talent are superior. And so we're just going to move on.
Or even if they don't, just hear what they say, period, and see what they do. But hear that someone says something.
Right.
And I think it's great that our entire community is talking today.
It's
No one's
true.
getting paid for it though.
It's true. And there's a lot of things happening, I swear, on the universe. It's like, I think we're in a retrograde Mercury. We had a full moon. There are lots of things jumping and happening. And I guess people have to come face to face with what needs to change, what is no longer serving you, that we all have to make a choice for in our own lives. And it looks like it's being put out there for all talent to look and decide for themselves. But I think the smarter play is to watch and see what happens as this evolves and see where our agents, what they advise. In the meantime, I just want to, while I have you both here, I want to say, Jeffrey, I hope we're going to see you in October in Los Angeles here. You're going to work your schedule and come be on VoiceOver
That's my
National.
hopes. Yeah, we can talk about that really.
Absolutely. Well, J. Michael Collins is returning. He is going to talk about, of course, as always, his best practices, negotiation techniques, online casting. I mean, the narrations that are available.
We're talking a lot about e-learning also, which is if you want to make money in this business today, that is one of the fastest growing parts of the industry and really remarkably lucrative. So if you're interested in e-learning, come to VO Mastery.
And I'm really hoping that we get enough union talent that are going, okay, this is a little foreboding of where things are going. Maybe I need to up my game.
It's
And
something
get
interesting
educated
too.
on this e-learning.
The average e-learning job at the lowest rates that you find on online casting sites is above SAG-AFTRA scale.
The lowest rate.
That's not an unusual thing. That's amazing.
$1,000 to $3,000 an hour is very common. SAG-AFTRA scale, don't catch me misquoting this, but it's somewhere in the neighborhood of $400 for the first hour and 100 and something for each additional half hour non-broadcast. I understand their contributions and other things, residuals that go into that, but it's still a big number compared to the front headline number for union rates. So e-learning growing rapidly.
Very good. And I think having you in VoiceOver Mastery, J. Michael Collins, is
I don't know what numbers those
such a bonus for us. So thank you for your perspective, your wisdom. Jeffrey, love you. Really appreciate the call
Jump in
back.
with
Love you
questions.
too,
I'll share the mic.
We'll go live tonight. It won't be your bedtime, so if you want to pop in on the after, you'll get to see yourself again. All right, thank you so much. J. Michael, have a great night, and we'll talk to you tomorrow.
Thank you very much. Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Wow.
All right. Can you guys hear me? Shake your head. Yes. Good.
Right.
Excellent. Excellent. So I hope you felt that the conversation was informative from J. Michael. I think a lot of the non-union people look to him because he has such a great
sense of business and where the trends are taking us as voice talent. And he's actually the one, David, that's working constantly on teaching voice talent how to raise their rates. Because for those of us that are union, we don't have to negotiate. Our agents do it for us, and SAG-AFTRA has already determined a rate. They only negotiate if you're over scale, really. So we're pretty lucky, but most voice actors in this industry, they are chief cook and bottle washer. They've got to find that's where you start. But we didn't have that when we started. We didn't have the ability to go online and be a part of a community. We literally had to hoof it, from.
Yeah, I was one of the first ones to have a website. I remember that whole thing, right?
Yeah. Right.
We were doing everything. I remember being on the floor of the studio with the reel-to-reel tapes trying to make FedEx.
That was me. That was me at Mark Grouse Studios.
4 o'clock. It was a nightmare. So I built. There was no when I went to the Atlanta conference last year.
Right. You spoke there.
I had no idea this even existed. I had a clue. I thought, well, it was none of this. Like, you go to voiceover camp? What, there's a weekend? And where are you guys going? We're going to Vegas. Oh, have fun. Yeah, there's another one next. There's another voiceover thing for voiceover people. Is it?
Right.
I hadn't got a clue.
Go ahead.
So I guess the industry sort of blew up, and people realized that, hey, I want to do voiceover.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know when that happened. I don't know sort of when that all took place, and then what I'm concerned about, like I spoke at the Atlanta thing about excellence and about striving to be, the top of your game, or who's the watermark, who do you shoot for to be good at, and so I don't know sort of when that all started, when the whole thing went, oh boy, I want to do voiceover. When did that start? When did that become a thing?
3 weeks ago Tuesday.
Yeah, is it Tuesday? Oh my God. So
okay, yeah.
So to me, it's sort of relatively, new. It's like in a gig, you work your way up to a certain place, and next step, and I'm not sure what to think.
David, we have a couple of questions for you from the Peanut Gallery over here. Is that okay if we throw them at you?
Of course. It's my favorite gallery in the world.
So this regards promo. Which is just a small segment of what you do, but I think it's probably one of the ones you've been doing for the longest time, right?
Yeah.
Now, this is a little bit esoteric, but as someone interested in promo, and I know that some people out there and who will be listening to this are also interested in promo, people talk about, like some of the coaches, people you've not experienced, coaches, talk about this moment where you kind of come into your own sound, and it kind of has something to do with letting go of things, but also arriving at it. Now, can I ask you, was there a moment, because you have such a great signature sound, I really think it's one of the best in the business, as do many of the buyers in this industry. Was there a moment or a time where you kind of arrived at that sound and said, this is David Kaye?
Gosh, I don't know. I just want to, my screen's off. Is that normal?
Oh.
I'm not sure if that's normal.
Did we pull
Probably-
something?
probably
I think it's power.
Is there power?
Yeah.
Great.
So am I on, or I'm
You
just,
should be on.
you can hear me,
Rachel.
right?
Yeah.
Can you go get my computer
Sorry, guys.
cord out of the
Stand by.
All right.
That'd be great. All right,
Okay, so
You can hear him, right?
we can hear David. We just can't
sure
hear.
it's the same charger?
Yeah.
It's my
Yeah. John says, was that thumbs up to say that we can hear?
You can hear us?
Yeah, there we go.
great.
You're back
Yeah,
up.
yeah.
Thank you.
You're back up
Thank
here.
you.
It's sort of 5%, so you got to plug in. You can hear me. So it's interesting because to this day, I'm still finding new stuff out, and it's all nuance.
Yeah.
It's all nuance, and promos is a little different. It's all like on a dial, a little different than trailer, a little different than affiliate, a little different than this and narration. It's a whole. It took a long time, and I think one of the first things I ever heard that made me realize that I shouldn't be doing what I'm doing was when I was in radio, and I was only 18.
Mhm.
I was on the air doing overnights, and I became a big fan of David Letterman. I would be doing all kinds of David Letterman bits, and then some caller called up on, like, yeah, I got a phone call. Stop doing David Letterman. And he hangs up on me, and I kind of, sheepishly, and I kind of, it never left me at 18 years old.
Yeah.
It never left me, and he's right.
Yeah.
The sooner you can get to where you're comfortable with who you are, like when I did that trailer workshop in there, the cool thing for me, like I don't do a lot of teaching and stuff because
Right.
so I was a nervous wreck. I did enjoy it. And the reason I did enjoy it is we went around the room introducing everybody, and it was about finding your own voice. That was the whole thing of what I was doing. And so everybody went around, and then one of the just plug it in there. There we go. Is it there?
Left side.
Oh, left side. I'm sorry.
Great.
There we go.
Cool.
And one of the guys, really great guy, steps forward and said, "Hey, I'm so-and-so. I'm from Seattle radio station, Seattle." And I go, "Okay, there's my project right there." So as soon as I can get him stop talking about him, I don't want to hear that radio voice. I got to get him out of that. That whole, hey, well, it's 75 degrees downtown. No, that's not who you are. That's a mask. We all put masks on every day. Every time we get out of bed in the morning, we put on, whatever mask. So I got everyone to pull way back and not do anything.
Right.
To the point where he was just he's in here just talking, just doing a thing like that. And he did this little read, and everyone's around. I looked at everyone's face and went, "Oh my God." I said, "There. That's where you need to be."
No one believes it can be that easy.
It's literally stop putting on a mask. You don't need to do look, when we get together with all the voice people, we're all doing, "Hey, how you doing?" We're all
Right.
pulsing, doing everything.
Right.
We're all doing everybody's voice. And
Everybody wants to crack wise.
But it's the voice. And the cool thing about promo and trailer is you need to be yourself.
Yeah.
I mean, you can be a character within. You can do tonight on A&D, an all new Felicity. Remember how
Right.
Douglas,
That would be how Douglas
and so
would
you
sound.
need to, what is he doing? What did he pull back? You can be a real person, but it has to be grounded somehow.
Right. Right.
And the only way you can ever get there is to really be comfortable with yourself. And it takes a long time. And as human beings, some of us, take forever to find out who we are.
Yeah.
And generally, and so the voice it can't be a mask. You really have to. And then as you get older, you're able to, how when you're 18 years old, you kind of talk like this, you're a little lazy and stuff, whatever. And it's like, yes, you're young. As you get older, things become a little more silky and smooth, and there are layers, and there's things you can do to create. It's just a sort of I think being on the planet longer just helps being around longer.
I agree. There are people that can experience great success at a young age, but yet there's a lot to be said for a fine wine, and you sort of age properly.
It's like a cigar, it's like a wine, it's like anything. The longer there's history, the more reading you do, and the more interested you are, the more curious you are about the world. That all, we're going back to promo, but it all ties into that little 15-second read. Tonight at ABC, it's an all new Elf, but it's just because you're grounded. You understand what I'm trying to get to the meat of it.
You are. But that goes back to who you are. You're grounded. Your intention for your everyday life as who you are, how you show up for your family, for your friends, for your community.
It's all about that.
That is how you show up for your work.
And it comes out here.
Yes.
And I just think that has a lot to do with it. So again, going back, to the gripping.
Right.
It's real hard. It's like if you try and do a spot, it's not going to work.
Yeah.
If you just relax. And talk and just be whatever. In whatever character you are, it's more real.
I think that's why the millennials actually do well, because they already have that freedom of not worrying about, like you said.
That's where, and you have to be able to maneuver as well as we get older. In the millennials, because back in the 50s and the 40s, the announcer was your father. You could smoke those Pall Mall cigarettes until you had nothing left of your lungs.
We lived in a patriarchal,
and that was the father voice. In the 60s, it changed. In the 70s, it was a little different. The 80s was different. And now
the Love Boat. That was 70s.
Tonight an all new Elf, NBC. It's a brand,
Danny Dark.
Danny Dark, my hero. And so now it's when somebody's selling you something on the radio or online or a podcast, whatever, they are your peers or they are your.
True.
So that's where you have to sort of communicate to
Mhm.
on that level. So you can do all those announcers, which is kind of fun, but no one speaks like this anymore. We don't talk like that. Say, what's a big idea? I don't pound you.
That's so true.
It
when they
is.
say
No
we
one
want a
says-
1940s announcer.
Yeah, check out the dame. Who says that? Yeah, look at the gams on her. That's the way that we were. So we were different back then.
Right.
It's like we're different now.
Right.
So you have to be able to maneuver and listen.
Yeah.
And how are we communicating? It's all of it.
Yeah, it is.
In a nutshell.
Well, and you're leading the way. And
Giant nutshell.
I'm so glad that you did have an experience teaching in Atlanta.
Oh my God, this is really good.
Oh, that's
What
so good. This
I
is
saw
Zinfandel.
rubber tire.
So you're coming to VO Mastery. Thank you.
Yes,
for
you're
agreeing.
welcome.
Yeah,
You texting me. Okay, stop texting.
Listen,
I will come.
nothing new. I am a nudge. Okay. You know how you say your sign at home is I was born to hustle or whatever.
My religion is hustle.
My religion is hustle.
Yeah.
My actual reality is I'm a nudge. I'm a nudge.
33 years.
30
years of texting.
Arnie, you'd have to go near David so we can see you. Oh, no, there you are. You're on Jack's camera. So, but I want to tell you, my husband and I, I'm very excited. We're going to tell you more tomorrow night on our 5 o'clock coffee. John Taylor, I can't wait to tell you that we are starting our first podcast tomorrow. We have a deal with Podcast One, and we go into the studios to record our first show tomorrow.
Yes.
And I'm not going to say too much about it. Let's get it done. And then tomorrow night during Coffee Talk, we're going to tell all about my husband and I, married 33 years. We are co-hosting a podcast. And it's not about us. It's all about music. It's about music. So if
That's
you're
cool.
an artist, if you love music, you're going to want to tune in.
And I heard, I can't say it, but I heard it's one of my favorite artists of all time. That's going to be one of your guests.
There you go.
So I'm stoked.
Absolutely.
That's
Woo,
cool.
woo. So Podcast One is where we will be appearing very soon. So I just want to thank everyone. And David Kaye, thank you for coming into the Zoom
Gosh,
room.
I didn't do anything.
Thank you for agreeing to come to VO Mastery. Don't make me text you again. Jack Daniel, you're the greatest.
Jack.
Carson Beck, who just produced, he's producing my daughter's first
It
real
sounds
professional
really
demo.
damn good.
It
It sounds really good. Yeah.
Okay. I guess she's looking for representation soon.
She go talk to Umberger.
Get rid of that agent. Get rid of it.
All right, very good. So, well, thank you guys for coming into the Zoom. We love you, and we hope to see you all. By the way, Shovita will send out a follow-up questionnaire, and because you were in the Zoom, you're going to get a big discount to come to VO Mastery in October, and I hope you'll join us. Thank you guys so much. Eleanor, love you, darling, and we'll talk to you all soon. Send us questions, find me on Facebook, and let me know what you thought of this whole thing. Thanks, guys.
See y'all.
Have a good night.